Welcome to Lost in Revision. All of our content is public domain, literature, fairy tales, and folklore. We look at stories through an irreverent and lighthearted lens in our discussion episodes, and our daily stories are a fun way to listen to the original versions in a short format that can fit into most people's schedules. If you prefer to listen to full chapters, you can subscribe to our Patreon page. We just added a $1 option that provides early access and more. You can check the show notes for our Linktree page where there are links to all of our public pages, ways to contact us, and all of our content. Our goal is to at least break even to cover our expenses, so any support that you can offer to help us reach that goal helps keep this podcast going and you entertained. All of our music is by Nathan Hubble and is used with his permission. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
Little John Goes to Nottingham Fair. Part 2. Minnie turned to look after such a stout, tall fellow, for his shoulders were broader by a palm's breadth than any that were there, and he stood a head taller than all the other men. The lasses also looked at him askance, thinking they had never seen a lustier youth. First of all he went to the booth where the stout ale was sold, and standing aloft on a bench he called to all that were near to come and drink with him. "Hey, sweet lads," cried he, "who will drink ale with a stout yeoman? Come all, let us be merry, for the day is sweet and the ale is tingling. Come hither, good yeoman, and thou, for not a farthing shall one of you pay. Nay, turn hither, thou lusty beggar, thou jolly tinker, for all shall be merry with me." Thus he shouted, and all crowded around, laughing, while the brown ale flowed. And they called Little John a brave fellow, each swearing that he loved him as his own brother. For when one has entertainment with nothing to pay, one loves the man that gives it to one. Then he strolled to the platform where they were at cudgel play, for he loved a bout at quarterstaff as he loved meat and drink. And here befell an adventure that was sung in ballads throughout the mid-country for many a day. One fellow there was that cracked crowns of everyone who threw cap into the ring. This was Eric O'Lincoln, of great renown, whose name had been sung in ballads throughout the countryside. When Little John reached the stand, he found none fighting, but only bold Eric walking up and down the platform, swinging his staff and shouting lustily, "Now who will come and strike a stroke for the lass he loves the best, with a good Lincolnshire yeoman? How now, lads, step up, or else the lass's eyes are not bright hereabouts, or the blood of Nottingham youth is sluggish and cold. Lincoln against Nottingham, say I, for no one hath put foot upon the boards this day such as we of Lincoln call a cudgel player." At this one would nudge another with his elbow, saying, "Go thou, Ned," or "Go thou, Thomas," but no lad cared to gain a cracked crown for nothing. Presently Eric saw where Little John stood among the others, a head and shoulders above them all, and he called to him loudly, "Hello, thou long-legged fellow in scarlet! Broad are thy shoulders and thick thy head. Is not thy lass fair enough for thee to take cudgel in hand for her sake? In truth, I believe that Nottingham men do turn to bone and sinew, for neither heart nor courage have they. Now, thou great lout, wilt thou not twirl staff for Nottingham?" "Ay," quoth Little John, "had I but mine own good staff here, it would pleasure me hugely to crack thy knave's pate, thou saucy braggart. I wot it would be well for thee and thy coxcomb were cut." Thus he spoke slowly at first, for he was slow to move, but his wrath gathered headway like a great stone rolling down a hill, so that at the end he was full of anger. Then Eric O'Lincoln laughed aloud. "Well spoken for one who fears to meet me fairly, man to man," said he. "Saucy art thou thine own self, and if thou puttest foot upon these boards, I will make thy saucy tongue rattle within thy teeth." "Now," quoth Little John, Is there never a man here that will lend me a good stout staff till I try the mettle of yon fellow? At this, half a score reached him with their staves, and he took the stoutest and heaviest of them all. Then, looking up and down the cudgel, he said, Now, I have in my hand but a splint of wood, a barley straw as it were, yet I trow it will have to serve me, so here goeth. Thereupon he cast the cudgel upon the stand, and leaping lightly after it, snatched it up in his hand again.
I hope you're enjoying the stories. We sure are enjoying creating this for you. If you go and sign up on Patreon, you can listen without having to hear me talking in the intro and outro. For only $3 a month, you get the full chapters as soon as I have them edited, and you have your own personal RSS feed with no interruptions. We just added a $1 option that provides early access and more. We also have an account with buymeacoffee.com if you want to support us that way. So check out our link tree in the show notes for all of the best ways to get in touch and support the show.
There's a lot more waiting for us all at the end of the road.